All right, we are hot, fresh hot, still white hot, literally, off of this past weekend's MI Paracon at the Kuwait Casino, the 13th annual MI Paracon, Kuwait Casino, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. If you're watching right now live, and I already see it lighting up with peeps watching, you're getting out of bed, you're just getting your butt into bed, or you said, screw it, I'm staying in bed all day. Whatever it is, whatever it was, you're right here right now. Don't adjust your phone. Don't adjust your laptop. Do not adjust your TV. We are streaming live from the Static Planet. This is the voice of the paranormal, the voice for the paranormal, Windsor, Ontario's own, the paranormal voice. I, of course, am Michael John of Michael John Paranormal Ghost Stories. My co-ghost host next to me is, of course, the man of the hour, the man of the power, too sweet to be sour. Ladies and gentlemen, he is known as Dale High Spirits Quigley. Together, we are the co-ghost hosts of this magnificent show that we are blessed to call and blessed to have, the Windsor, Ontario's own, the paranormal voice. Dale, hot off the MI Paracon. We are still trying to land the plane on the excitement. It's been a couple days since we've been back, but oh my God, I'm still seeing people's posts everywhere, all across Facebook. People are still sending me messages. Oh my God, great to see you, great to hug you. And it was great. We saw a bunch of old friends and made a bunch of new friends. The hug machine was crazy. I think my arms are sore from wrapping around people and squeezing them. It's so good to do that. It's so good to get out and see the creeps, the freaks, and the weirdos that make up not only the TPV nation, but make up the para community, the para family, and the para friends that we've been very #blessed, thankful, grateful to have.
Oh, absolutely. It was the Maya Paracon never disappoints. It, like we say, it's the WrestleMania Paracons. It is the place to be. If you are a paranormal enthusiast, paranormal, whatever you are to the paranormal, it is definitely the place to be. Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, Tim Alice, Brad Blair, the whole UPPRS team, my God, they never disappoint, and they always figure out a way to outdo themselves each and every year. And, blockbuster names like Jack Osborne was there, who, I mean, I was gracious enough to have a few minutes to talk to, and I'll tell you, what a great guy. I tell you, Jack Osborne, I mean, wow, the knowledge that guy has is overwhelming. And then we had Project Fear in the house, and we had the guys that were sitting across from us all weekend, the Ghost Brothers. Oh my God, what fun-loving guys. Those guys were absolutely hilarious. For those who did not catch that interview with the Ghost Brothers, go back to our channel. Relive some of our moments, because the Ghost Brothers were definitely there, and my God, I think that was definitely one of the best interviews we had going.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'll tell you what. That was an outstanding interview. Those guys were hilarious. They took over the interview, but on top of that, we brought on the very lovely, a very good friend of ours. We're proud to say that, the one and only MJ Dixon, England's own. And oh my God, while you're talking to her, and I mean this with all due respect, the craziest man in the paranormal world, and I mean that adoringly, and we love him to death because he's so much fun. The one and only Timothy Shaw. You hear a voice in the background, all of a sudden he just walks in and takes over. He even gets a plug for the Black Cat Lounge every Tuesday night. That's for you, Timmy. Oh my God, so much fun. If our interviews were nothing but fireworks, that would have been the grand finale of fireworks. Was that final interview? That was. Oh my God, the whole weekend was nuts like that, but that just really topped it off.
Absolutely. You know what? We love Tim Shaw. Tim is a great friend of the show. We love everything about Tim. And of course, we love the lovely MJ Dixon. She's always a sweetheart. She's always there. She's always, doing, but I mean, all weekend, like all of the speakers and vendors were busy all weekend long. And I mean, and of course, we had the great Ronnie LeBlanc from Expedition Bigfoot on the show
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about season 4. That's going to be happening tomorrow night. So, folks, get ready for that on the Discovery Channel. Expedition Bigfoot is coming your way. A brand new season. We had Ronnie LeBlanc talking about it. Wow, what a great guy. What a great guy. You know, I love Ronnie too. Ronnie's a really great guy.
That's
Getting to know
tomorrow
him.
night, August
That's tomorrow
30th,
night, August 30th.
on
Just want to
Discovery.
say a couple of hello people that are tuning in. We got the lovely Kristen Roberts tuning in. We have Karen Carper tuning in. Paranormal Brew. Make sure you catch over
Yes.
Paranormal Brew.
Great
Yes.
podcast show. Great show.
We have Justin coming in. We have Julie Maron. I hope I said that right. And we have one of my good friends from work, Carol. Love you, Carol. Thank you for tuning
Welcome to
in.
everybody. Thank you for taking time
Yes, thank you.
for just to say hello. Thank you so
And
much. It means so much.
Also, the big news is tonight. Tonight, we are debuting on the Get Haunted Network. We are live over on the Get Haunted Network as well. Night
How
one.
cool is that?
Absolutely. Thank you so much to Sarah Jane and Rob for including us in on this brand new adventure that they're doing. So we are so happy to be there. I see over on the YouTube page we have Roger Blair and we have Brittany over there. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, like I said, I've been waiting for this interview for so much. I got to meet this wonderful gentleman probably just a little bit over a month ago now.
Where was that?
I'll tell you. That was up in Palmyra, New York, at the Palmyra Historic Museum. What a fantastic building! We're going to talk about that on the show with our guest tonight,
Cool.
Because I'll tell you, it was an absolutely amazing place to be, and I was glad that I was there. I was able to experience a Get Haunted event, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I don't want to wait anymore. I want to bring this guest out because he is so amazing and he's such a super nice guy too.
Okay. Well, who are we talking about? We're talking about this guy. Not only is he the vice president of White Hill Mansion, which we're going to talk extensively about that haunt, but also this gentleman is a paranormal investigator extraordinaire, a Get Haunted crew member. Oh my God. And there's some really cool people in the crew. And I've been chomping at the bit to sit down and have a chance to talk to this gentleman. Without further ado, please bring in Get Haunted's own Kyle Mangus.
Hey, there he
Hey,
is.
guys. How you guys doing?
Great. Thank you so much for
Good.
popping on and taking some time for us, Kyle. It means a lot, and I can't wait to get into some of your spooky experiences here, brother.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Kyle, I just want to say thank you so much, for coming out here. And I'll tell you what a pleasure it was to meet you back in September up at the Palmyra, New York Historical Museum. I'll tell you, I mean, I was excited to be there because it's a location I never heard about, for one. And I'll tell you, the location itself was it was on fire. I don't know if Rob and Sarah paid the spirits to be that active that night, but I'll tell you, out of a lot of public investigations that I've been to, I mean, that place did not disappoint whatsoever.
No, it really didn't. I mean, that was my first time at that location too. So I read up on the history a little bit, but I kind of went in kind of like you, just like I want to experience this place. And from right off the hop, I mean, it was crazy. There was times where we couldn't even keep up with the activity because something else would be happening. It's a really awesome location. Definitely, if anyone's out there in the area, check that place out. It's a hidden gem in the paranormal world, and the history alone. Oh my God.
So, Kyle, I got to ask. I mean, before we get into the goodies about that,
Yeah.
I mean, we got so many questions for you, and one thing we love to know, of course, is, I mean, what turns you on? If dare I say it like that, what turns you on to the paranormal? What got you involved in it? What made you go, oh my God, I'm into this?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it's kind of a loaded question for me, but bear with me. So,
Of course.
I was always interested in the paranormal, but I never really took it serious. Like I watched the shows, I was like, cool, ghosts and whatnot, whatever. But I was really into history, and that's where a lot of my passion comes from, is the historical preservation side, saving history. And like, I only watched the shows, and I liked the beginning when they went over the history of the shows. Like, the paranormal investigating was awesome too, but like, I just wanted to know about the history. So um, I'm from New Jersey, and right in my backyard is this place, White Hill Mansion. So I found this place, and I have a lot of local history in the town that it's in. So I was like, I just really love this house, the history of the house. Like, I want to help save this. So I went over and I just started volunteering, um, doing whatever I can. I started doing tours, started helping out with their paranormal stuff. Like, I knew it was haunted going in, but that really wasn't on my radar. I just wanted to be there to help save this amazing history. And just being there over the a year or so, I would hear a lot of noises, have a lot of experiences, and it got me questioning things. And I'm like, I'm very skeptical investigator now, but back then I was like, I don't know, it's my mind playing tricks on me. But I was there
Fair
for a
enough.
while,
Yeah,
and what really turned me, I guess, to a, I don't want to say a believer, but really skyrocketed my paranormal journey was, I was there one day during the day, and I did a history tour. Everyone left the house, so I went in to lock it up. I was on the second floor, came out of one of these small rooms, and standing right in the hallway was this little boy. He looked right at me. We locked eyes, and then he just disappeared in front of me. And then I was like, okay, this is this is the real deal. Like, it took me a minute to kind of process what I saw, because I was like, I know I'm the only one in the house, and I know what I saw. So that's what really skyrocketed it into high gear. That's when I started more investigating, traveling around, just exploring it, and just that was the catalyst, I guess, if you will.
So this is like the very beginning of you being a part of the White Hill Mansion. This is like,
Yeah, I would
so
say it was probably about a year in, give or take. And it's weird because when I first started there, I always had this feeling or vibe, and I'm not psychic, I'm not sensitive in my opinion or anything. I always had this vibe that there was someone following me, like maybe a little kid, but I had no real preconceived notions of the hauntings or any of the history there. And then when I saw this kid, I was like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense from what I was feeling. So again, that kind of spawned my journey a little bit, because I'm like, well, why am I experiencing so much more than some other people? Like, everyone comes in White Hill and experiences something, but I mean, I experienced a lot there, so I don't know. That's what kind of intrigues me. Like, why?
I don't know. And I think with an experience like that, I mean, how can you not be more compelled to learn more about like this whole paranormal thing, the spirits, the energy, whatever people might call them.
Hmm.
I like to refer to them as energy because I don't know, ghosts just sounds too cheesy to me because we always we all know that our bodies are energy. When the shell dies, it's the energy that left behind. It's not a ghost. It's not a spirit.
Yeah.
It's an energy. But I mean, with that, I guess I would have went gun ho and go. So, did you ever find out who the little boy was?
No, because there's so much history at White Hill, and we have so much documented history, but then there's so much that isn't documented. I mean, so the house is basically, it's almost 300 years old. So there's always been someone either living there or occupying the area. So I mean,
okay.
it could be anyone. We have some speculations of who it might be, but we don't have any hard evidence. It's not like I interviewed him and like, "What's your name?" and he told me. He just kind of, you know how it goes. So,
Yeah.
but what really
Yeah.
got me when I saw him is like, he was aware of me and I was aware of him. Like, it wasn't just like something that was like just passing through that didn't even, you know, acknowledge me. He was looking right at me. We made eye contact. So it
And
was a
that's
pretty.
what, sorry, and that's what makes it interesting is, okay, he was 100% aware of you, like you said. And how many stories have you heard? I've heard a few myself where just not even a story, but to question that as, when they're looking at us, are we the ghosts to them? Is there some sort of time travel going on? There's so many theories.
Exactly.
We go 100 directions, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And at that point, I almost thought to myself, I was like, did we kind of like our times just come in for a second? We both saw each other and we're like, what was that? And then whoop, it went away. I don't know. I don't know. It's possible, I guess. That's why it's the paranormal, right?
Oh, yeah.
He went running to his mom and dad, says, "Mom, Dad, there's a strange guy in the house.
Yeah,
Where'd he come from?"
yeah, it's very possible.
I just want to give a quick show. We have some more people jumping in. We have Get Haunted's own Bree that jumped in for a second there. She had to run, but she wanted to say hello. So it's good to see Bree jump in. We have Chris and Bob. We just saw them at the Maya Paracon this
They give
weekend.
the best hugs.
They do. They do. We have our good buddy Mark is here. I won't even attempt to say his last.
Mark Herzog. Mark Herzog.
And then our good buddy Frank Roberts is here. Frank, good to see you, buddy. And
Crazy bastard.
And Taryn saying hi, fellas. Whoop
Hey,
whoop.
Taryn.
Love this show. Thank you, Taryn.
Oh,
Taryn from the Paranormal Brew once again. Yes, no.
So many good people.
So many good people tuning in tonight. But yeah, no, so yeah, no, White Hill Mansion. I loved. So let's just take a brief stop for a second because we did a really interesting experiment when we did the investigation from the Palmyra house, which we'll get back to in just a little bit. But the White Hill Mansion was a part of this experiment, along with the Enfield house in Connecticut. So what they did is they actually went live with this, and you can check it out on the Get Haunted page. I believe that's where it was streamed to. Mm-hmm. They did the Estes method. So they did our location, which was in Palmyra, New York. They did the White House Mansion, which is in New Jersey, and the Enfield House, which is in Connecticut. Now, they did this live, 3 separate locations, 3 separate states, all at the same time, trying the Estes method to see like if each location communicate with all the other. And I believe it was a really cool thing to try, but also a huge success because I thought we got some pretty good results out of that. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was a really cool experiment. We've done it with 2 locations, but since we had 3 events in one night, we said, you know what, let's really try something different. And to me, it was really cool to see. We actually got some really good answers, and how it worked is we all kind of took a rotation. Like us at Palmyra, we asked a question, we waited to see if we got a response, and then it went to White Hill, then it went to Enfield. And once we got it going, it seemed to kind of just take life of its own there. It seemed like our location was getting a lot of answers, but all 3 people who went under Estes from Palmyra said the same thing. They said they felt like they were communicating, but not from Palmyra. So it was really cool to see 3 different people who didn't hear each other's sessions to kind of have the same vibe. And I remember they also said they felt like they thought we were actually walking around them the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
And we were all sitting completely still. So it was a really cool experiment. I loved it.
Yeah, we're with the location we were at. I don't know if the other locations did the same thing as us, but we had those sensor lights wrapped around the person sitting in the chair, and a lot of people that were at our location all said the same things. Was that they could see the lights moving in a formation like somebody was going around in that circle, and you were right. All 3 people that went under all said the same thing. They all felt like somebody was walking around them, and they all felt touched at the same time in different body locations. My son Colby was there. He said he felt it on the left shoulder. I forget the other gentleman's name.
One of them was Joe from next to Kin Paranormal.
Yeah, he said he felt it down his back, but the other guy felt it on his right shoulder. So that was all interesting that they all felt like people were walking around them and they all had a part of their body touched at the same time. So, like I said, it was very amazing to sit there and watch it happen and to get the very similar responses from all 3 people that were there doing it.
Yeah, and it was really cool too to see, like, cause if we talk about energy, right? Like we had everyone at Palmyra engaged asking questions, right? And then we had everyone at White Hill, we had everyone at Enfield. So we had all of us together. And then through the internet, I don't know how it works. Does the energy of people watching and engaging? Because we had people even asking questions on the live, which was really, really cool. So I don't know if that had something to do with it too, but it's just a cool experiment. That's what I like about Get Haunted. We're always trying to do something to kind of break the mold and kind of do something different.
Oh yeah.
Get Haunted definitely innovative with their ideas and with I love how you guys are bringing the community as a whole together. And I say this all the time, and Dale does as well. We stole it from Sarah Jane. It's not our quote, but we love it. There's plenty of room in the sandbox for everybody, and that's what it's about. What no one's gonna, you know what I mean? You're not gonna. The glass isn't going to run dry, if you will. Get in there and do what everybody else is doing. Go experience it. I don't understand why some people get their panties in a bunch, if you will, because let's just say you didn't run White Hill Mansion. There was someone else doing it. Then all of a sudden Get Haunted shows up and starts doing their thing as well, as opposed to a Monday on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So what? You're all doing it. You're all learning. Exactly. It's all a learning experience. And that might lay in the plane of my point. You guys are awesome like that. You get in there, you're making things happen. You know what I mean? You're getting a bunch of us together and we're learning from each other. And that's what it's about. That's what our show's about, is learning about the paranormal, but also I can't say it enough about Get Haunted and the whole community aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just coming to events, like, I don't know everything. I mean, I've learned from different people that come to our events, and they've learned from me, and that's the whole thing. Like you just said, like that's how we push this paranormal field forward. That's how we get these answers. We're all kind of looking for the same thing. I mean, we're all in it for different reasons, but at the end of the game, we're all trying to see what is on the other side or what may be there. So it's just really cool that, you know, if everyone works together and we push this field forward, you know, who knows what'll happen and what we can figure out.
Absolutely. No, I mean, that night at Palmyra, there was yourself, there was Bree, and there was Terry. I mean, all three of you guys together. I mean, you guys made that event like very well. It went seamlessly all night. Like you guys look like you guys were there for like ever, the way that it went off. And I'll tell you, for those that are watching the show, if you want to experience a really good event, check out the Get Haunted events. Go to gethaunted.com. Check out all the locations that they got, because they got some amazing locations. And some you might hear about, because they do the Conjuring House, they do the White Hill Mansion, they do the Old Hill on College Hill, or the old hospital on College Hill. I mean, some well-known locations, but like the Palmyra House, like you were saying, it's a location that not a lot of people know about, but it was a very interesting location. I mean, it did not disappoint whatsoever. I mean, from the moment get-go, and the part that tripped me out the most, bright daylight outside, and if people says that stuff don't happen during broad daylight, you've never tried it, because Kyle was the one who started it off. It says, if there was anybody in this room, please knock or make a sound so we all know. And without hesitation, a knock went on every wall around the room.
Oh, yes.
I remember that. Yeah, it was crazy. It started like on the left side of the room and it went all the way around us. And I was like, I was like, what's happening? And then we had some REM pods and some tripwires set up, and they were going off at the same time. So you're like trying to focus on that. And I think that was the same time when the knocks went all the way around the room, they stopped by a Mel meter. I think somebody had a Mel meter set up, and the Mel meter started going off, and then it drained the batteries.
Yes, he goes, I just put fresh batteries in there. And I mean, and it was broad daylight. We could see the sun shining through the windows. So, I mean, that was at the general store where it all began. And it did not let up whatsoever. Just want to say hello to John Cassidy from Bump in the Night Paranormal. He also has his.
Hello, John.
Oh, we just spent some time with John up in my Paracon. Yeah, it's like I said, that place did not disappoint whatsoever. The history of that place, and I don't know what the name of the other building we were in.
Yeah, that the one with all the museum pieces and stuff.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I don't remember the name either, but that's where they have a lot of every room in the building is a different kind of section of history from the local area.
Yeah.
So they had like a military section from people who were in the military from that area, and then they had local businesses from the area, like all the history there. So it's a place that's filled with history, and that place was even active too.
Well, yeah, yeah.
It
We
sounds like you got some really, really strong entities there. I mean, from right out of the get go, you got the four knocks, like 1, 2, 3, 4, surrounding you. Good God, right? Let's look at the bigger picture. They're literally surrounding you already. I mean, dare I say, there's more than one there, but holy cow, man, that's insane.
Yeah, and then I remember when we went upstairs to the on the second floor of the general store. Remember we heard those footsteps above us on the floor above us the floor above us was actually shut down. Like no one was allowed up there because I guess they were doing renovations. And I don't know, they were the clearest footsteps I've ever heard paranormal investigating, just right across the floor. It was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that was cool in itself. I know the guys from next to kin had these really cool devices. These stands that lit up. They had motion detectors on them. And yeah, he had those at the base of the stairs. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all in the general store, and they just lit up like a Christmas tree. And it was like, wow, it was amazing. I think right after that, wasn't it? Somebody heard a female's voice coming down the hall.
Yeah, I think we were still downstairs in a general store, and the steps going upstairs are kind of right next to it. And somebody did hear a disembodied voice of what they thought was a female. So I think that's actually what had us go upstairs, because we were like, all right, well let's try upstairs now.
Yeah. Oh no, that was that was absolutely that. Like I said, that general store, and I mean, it was cool because everything in that store was still the way it was from when they. I don't know if Kyle wants to tell the story about that general store because it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so the general store was there. I believe a gentleman owned it from the very late 1800s, early 1900s, and then sometime around in the 40s, he just locked the door and just walked away. And everything was left just kind of like a little time capsule, and it's pretty much still the same. So it's really cool. It's like you're stepping back in time. And like for me, like when we walked into the general store, you see the general store and you're like, wow, this is what it looks like, the old West general store like you see in the movies.
Yeah.
Except it's in New York. And the same thing upstairs. It was just the way it looked, like very Victorian, very like to me, I just was like, I feel like I'm in the old West. Like I'm waiting for some piano music in a saloon doors. Like that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, no, but yeah, so let's talk. How did you meet the people from Get Haunted? How did you get involved with Get Haunted?
So obviously through being at White Hill and having paranormal investigators come in, I met Rob. Knew him for a couple of years, and he started Get Haunted, and what really drew me to Get Haunted is how much they help the community and how much they care about the locations, how they care about the history. Because like that's where my bread and butter is. Like I go to these haunted locations to save the history, to preserve the history by doing paranormal investigations. I mean, there's a lot of money in historical preservation, but there isn't that much. And without the paranormal community going to these places, bringing the money in, exploring the history, learning the history, a lot of these places will be shut down. So that's what really drew me to Get Haunted, and that's how I found Get Haunted, basically.
Kyle, I'm just curious myself. I mean, with spending your time as you do, I mean, is it daily you're at the White Hill Mansion, more or less?
I'm probably there a couple times a week just checking on it, but on the weekends usually is when I'm there a lot, either doing events or letting people in to do private investigations and whatnot.
Now, are you your live feed right now? Are you at home or are you at the White Hill Mansion?
I'm at home right now.
Okay, so landing the plane on all these questions here. The big question now, what I'm getting at. You ever had anybody or
Nope. I think it didn't want Michael John to ask that question.
I guess not.
They're like, nope, you're not allowed to ask that question.
Oh, try it again.
There he is. He's back.
There he is.
Sorry, that was anyway. Uh, have you ever had anyone or anything follow you home? And are you currently? Is there someone in your company right now? Maybe.
From White Hill, no, I've never had anyone follow me home from White Hill. Not that I don't have too many locations that have. Maybe once or twice, but White Hill's a kind of interesting location. They kind of seem to they want to interact with you, but they kind of want to stay there. So I've never heard
Okay.
anyone, um, bring a hitchhiker home or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about guests? How many? I mean, you must have heard countless stories from guests from their experiences. Off the top of your head, what's the creepiest, freakiest, weirdest experience a guest has shared with you?
God, probably. So White Hill is kind of known for the attic on the third floor. There's a lot of shadows and a lot of shadow people. So
Nice.
probably one of those stories from somebody who we get a lot of people. It's a good, like, if you just start your own paranormal group, it's a good place to do a private investigation because it's not too big, it's not too small. The activity is pretty good. There's nothing there that's too intense. But when
Yeah.
people come in and they're like, I tell them, like, up here, I don't know what it is up in the attic. It's a lot of shadow people. Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't. But when people see them, I mean, this one lady said she saw something on the ceiling drop down on the floor and then kind of move to the side, and she was like beside herself. And I was
You're
like,
right.
I kind of told you that's what happens up there. I don't know. It's so pretty much, you know, we have a plethora of activity there, but I think it takes a lot, I guess, for me by doing this so long and being there so often. It takes a lot to creep me out. Um, but probably the shadow people do. That's probably some of the creepiest stuff that I've heard from guests.
Love it.
Yeah.
Gotta love those shadow people. They always keep things interesting. So, as a paranormal investigator, we're getting more into. So, what is your thoughts about the cryptid and the UFO? Like, what have you had any of those experiences? Do you want any of those experiences?
Um. So UFOs, I don't not believe. I mean, I obviously believe they're in the universe. There's probably, come on, there's got to be something else. Do I want to experience them? Not really. I'm okay with not experiencing that. Um, Cryptids, I do believe. I haven't had any experiences with cryptids, but I do believe there's things out there in the natural world and whatnot that we just don't know. I think a lot of times we're a little arrogant, where we think we know everything about our world and our planet. And I think there are places where strange things that we don't know about could still be out there. So
So, you're from the New Jersey area, right?
correct.
Okay, the most famous cryptid in the New Jersey area is the New Jersey Devil, I believe.
Correct. That is it. It's number
The,
one.
and the only reason why I mean that was the only cryptid I really knew of besides Bigfoot and the New Jersey Devils because I learned so much about it from watching Paranormal State.
Hmm.
They actually had a case where they actually thought that they've captured an image of what they thought was the New Jersey Devil. But so what is your thoughts on that because that is something that's local to you?
So if you people go through the Pine Barrens ever, it's creepy. It's a very it's a sandy area where only basically pines grow. So it's very deeply wooded, but it's just pine trees and it's quiet. It's just a creepy area. And it's people think New Jersey, right? It's the most densely populated state. There's wilderness that, I mean, you could get lost in still. So I don't know. I don't know if there's actually like a flying horse creature out there like people describe, but I don't know.
Wow.
It's a weird place, and there's a lot of old towns that used to be like company towns out there. I know a lot of there was a lot of iron ore manufacturing and bog ore in that area in the 1800s. So there's a lot of little communities and old ruins out there. So it's just a really weird place. If there was any paranormal stuff happening out there, I would not be surprised at all.
So now, Kyle, in the case of the White House Mansion, number one,
Yeah.
uh, somebody, they're watching the show right now, or they're watching the replay up the road, and they're going, White Hill Mansion, that sounds really cool. I want to go. How do they reach out to you or whomever? What's the process to get a chance to investigate there?
So if anyone wants to do any kind of investigation, public, private, I mean, we do history tours. We do candlelight ghost tours, which are more on the paranormal element, and we kind of do like a mini ghost hunt with you, paranormal 101, if you will. But all that can be found on our Facebook page, Friends of White Hill Mansion, or right at our website, whitehillmansion.org, and you can book your paranormal investigations right from that website. Right now, we're pretty much booked up all year. We book up quick every Friday and Saturday. Um, so definitely check it out. It's an awesome place. And the best part for me is we're 100% volunteer organization. So everything we raise goes right back into the restoration and preservation of the mansion. So I don't take a salary. None of the 20 or so volunteers that work so hard to keep this place open and keep the history alive.
Yeah.
None of us take anything home. It goes right back into saving this amazing place.
And you know what, and that's the amazing thing about a lot. You said it earlier in the show, is that what Get Haunted does, and to bringing people into all these locations, are there, and they're actually saving a lot of locations and helping them keep the doors open, because people don't realize, like, the White Hill Mansions, the Conjuring houses, like, these are all privately owned places. They're not government funded. You can't get government funding because the government's not going to fund something that they don't believe in. But at the same time, it's like it is the people that take the tours and want to learn about it and go and visit there. Those are the ones that are keeping the doors open. So that's awesome that you and your crew at the White Hill Mansion are doing just that, keeping that history alive, because 300-year-old history is something to be talked about. I mean, kids are learning about it every day in schools. So you guys are keeping the doors open so that they can go visit it, not necessarily for the haunted side, but just for the history side, which is future investigators, because that's how I got to like the paranormals, because I was a huge history buff and I love to learn about things, but now I get to kind of try to interact with those spirits at the same time, or energies.
And that's exactly why I love doing what I do at the White Hill Mansion and with Get Haunted, because especially at White Hill, if we get a paranormal team in, right, they're just there for the ghosts, right? That's when they come in the door. They want to hear the ghost stories. But then when we give them a tour and tell them the history and how important this place was, I mean, just our Revolutionary War era is a history book in itself, and they're like, "Oh my God, I've never knew about anything about this place," and they're like blown away. So if I can get someone in just for the ghosts and also give them the history, that's great, and vice versa. If I get them in for the history and they leave a little paranormal fun, hey, I'm winning at that point. And so is White Hill, and so is the history.
So we're gonna veer off a bit. We're gonna stay on history, of course. What are your thoughts on Gettysburg? Have you ever had a chance to go there yourself?
Yes, we go there a lot. Believe it or not, I've never actually investigated in Gettysburg. I mean, I've been going there for probably 10 years or more and never actually investigated. But it's one of those places that as soon as you kind of drive into it, you can kind of feel it. It just feels different. It feels, not heavy, but it feels paranormal, I guess is the best way I can say it.
Okay.
And that's just another great place where people can come and experience history. They can see some of the buildings, they can touch it, they can feel it, they can investigate it. A lot of paranormal tours, but they lead right in to the history too. So it's just a great combination. And it's such an important part to, the United States history too. Oh my God. So
I hear more and more about it, and that's why I had to ask. I know Sushi said you're a history buff, like my partner is as well. I mean, I'm the guy that sits here drooling just listening, because I'm, sharp as a marble with that stuff, man. So, but to hear it, on spot and hearing it, it's pretty amazing to hear and realize, what happened on site at said location. That's the neat stuff. That's the cool stuff on top of getting to investigate, but you're learning so much. And then later on, as you're investigating, then you might get that EVP or something, and something coincides, and you get a confirmation of, like a general or a lieutenant or a lieutenant depending on what side of the border you're from. You know, and for example, and there's so many examples I can give, but I mean, it's so cool to get those confirmations. But to know who, the what, the where, the when, and the why is a big part of it, like you're saying, and I love that you do that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely. I just want to say a quick hello to Devin and Rob Simpson from Wallenberg, good friends of the show as well. Thank you for tuning in, Devin and Rob. So, Kyle, every paranormal investigator has a bucket list. What would be your top bucket list if you had an opportunity to go to?
So probably my top bucket list would be somewhere over in Europe, maybe Romania, Transylvania. Maybe even like Ireland and Scotland too. Just somewhere like over here, especially on the northeast of the United States. Like we have some old locations, right? But nothing compared to over in Europe. You're talking 1,000 years old. And I just think it'll be something totally different and totally cool to investigate one of those locations.
So where in Ireland? Anywhere particular?
Definitely Lep Castle. It was on, I believe it was on Ghost Hunters.
Okay.
So it's a really old castle. I think it's a private residence now.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah, a guy lives there. He's lived there for a really long time. But it's a really cool location. The Rams Head Inn too in England.
Oh God, yes,
really
yes,
cool.
Yes,
just
please.
For me, it's like I just want to get somewhere that's super old. Like I don't know, it just be something totally different to see if I've investigated over here in all kinds of time periods, but nothing that old, to kind of see how the activity would be. Would it be similar? Would it not be? Who knows?
Right.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like going to places like Scotland and Ireland and any place in Europe, because the cities are so old. And I mean, it talks about the structures that are over there, because some of those castles that are over there is even a century old. So to see them and be able to walk inside of them, to be able to roam the halls, yeah, it's like one of those, if these walls could talk, imagine the stories they would tell.
Exactly.
So with your association, go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead.
I mean, there are plenty of locations in, the United States too, not knocking any of them. Like there's plenty that I would want to hit up, but bucket list would definitely be something totally outside the box. So
with your association with Get Haunted, let's ask that now. For someone, they want to jump on board and become part of the Get Haunted crew, or get out into these Get Haunted investigations. How can they reach out, get in contact with? What are the channels, so to speak? So
it's super easy. Go to Get Haunted on Facebook, shoot us over a message, go right to the website, gethaunted.com, send us a message. Come out to one of our events, meet one of us, talk to any of us. We're all very approachable. We're all easy to talk to, sure. and just come out and see what it's all about. Jump on board the Get Haunted Network pages. I mean, that's a great resource for the paranormal community. I mean, I love it because there's people from all over, and like you guys investigate different than we investigate down here, and you might be doing experiments or getting activity that we don't even know about. And if we kind of all just say like, hey, this is what we're getting out here, what are you guys getting? And we may learn something, and it's just a great community place. So definitely check out the network page.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? And we talked about this a little bit, about just how the Get Haunted vision is bringing the paranormal community together. And, it doesn't matter where you are in the paranormal. You could be a beginner just wanting to learn, or you could be a veteran of decades. And, it's just bringing a community together, which I think got lost for the longest time. Because, people were so busy doing their, it's not a bad thing if you're doing your own thing, but at the same time, it's the whole, let's just play nice together. Let's be kind to one another. And I think we lost a lot of that. And I was glad that to meet Sarah Jane and Rob, it's one of those, it's a good feel-good moment to know that there are good people still in the community doing good work, and to bringing people together instead of trying to keep everybody divided.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, and I love doing investigations. I love doing the private investigations, and I also like doing public investigations. There's a space for both. Like, I love meeting people. I love learning from people. I love seeing why other people investigate. What's their reason? And a lot of times, when you get a group of people together, you get more activity. Like Palmyra was the perfect example, right? We got a group together, and that place exploded paranormally. It
They
was great.
they were the group that was at Palmyra that night. It was a well diverse group, like a good mixture of a lot of energy, and I think everybody there was there with the best of intentions and was there with an open mind. And I say that to any location. You go to a location, you have to be open minded and to be willing to accept. But I think everybody there brought something to the table. Everybody's style worked together.
Exactly.
And that was what community is all about. We have somebody that just popped in here. Oh, Angelina Rivera. Hello, thank you for joining the show. Thank you so much, and thank you for the compliment. You know what? Me and Michael John are just so passionate about the paranormal. Like, this has been our lives. We love talking about the paranormal, like being part of the paranormal, and we are so happy to be included with the Get Haunted crew in their new project that they're launching, which we are starring in tonight, which is the Paranormal Podcast Project, which is absolutely amazing. You know what? They're bringing, once again, bringing the community of podcasters together. You know, this is in itself is a great thing to be doing. So it's a but so what is on the docket next for Mr. Kyle? What are you doing down the road, and what can we look forward to?
Oh man. Well, with Get Haunted, we've got a couple really cool events this Saturday coming up. We'll be at the old hospital on College Hill.
Oh
Um,
yes.
then we've got Mid Orange. We've got the Shanley Hotel later in September. We've got another White Hill in October. There's a Conjuring House in there in September. It's all on our website. I'm just rattling them off from the top of my head. Um, and then we're going to be at some really cool Paracons too. We're going to be at the Warren Paracon, so if anyone wants to come out, check us out there. We're also going to be at the Terracon up in Connecticut in September, so come check us out. Yeah, and then for me, well, it's going to be fall October season, so when I'm not going to be helping out Get Haunted, I'll be at White Hill helping them out, either hosting tours. So you'll probably see pictures of me at White Hill, my second or third home at this point.
So, as busy as you are, Kyle, I mean, I there's people in your area, again, watching right now or later on up the road, or a buddy, tell a buddy, bring a friend kind of thing.
Hmm.
Word of mouth gets out. Oh my God, there's this great guy named Kyle Mangus. He's right there in our town. You think you got something going on. There's a bump of the night. You don't know what's happening. You're seeing shadow figures out of the corner of your eye. You're hearing disembodied voices. The list goes on. How can someone reach out to you directly for help nearby?
Well, you can contact me right on my Facebook. You can send me a message. I don't know if I'll be able to help you, but I know enough people in the community, in the
Perfect.
local area, that we will point you in the right direction if anyone needs help. Between Get Haunted, between a lot of the contacts and investigators who come to White Hill, we'll get you set up for sure.
Okay.
That is truly awesome, and I know the Paranormal Voice will be at the Warren's Paracon in Connecticut as well. So I look
Awesome.
forward to being able to hang out with you again if you're up that way. If you're going to be part of that event, because it was absolutely amazing last year. I attended the event. Was absolutely blown away by the crowd that showed up there. I mean, I believe last year's attendance was well over 6,000 people, and that's a 1 day, and that's a 1 day event, folks. And I hear this year here, it's going to be even bigger. They're expecting over 7,000 people this year. So, I mean, they put on a very good, well organized event. To be able to host that many people in 1 day is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's truly incredible. I believe I heard that they have over 200 vendors now, so it's
Oh,
a big one. So definitely, it's worth checking out.
I know the vending room alone last year was like a football field size, and it was absolutely amazing. And yeah, once again, like the speaker lineup for that event as well is really amazing. For those that are interested, go over to the Warren. I think it's you can find it at. I know it's their web page, the Warren's Supernatural page, I believe it's called, for all the ticket information, or you can even Google it. It's at the Mohegan Sun Casino, an amazing venue, very, very big. So we look forward to being up there as well. But yeah, no, I just want to say to you, thank you so much for taking your time to come on the show, talk to us about White Hill Mansion. I hope it's a place that I can visit someday soon.
Me too.
And thank you for talking about the Get Haunted crew, because, like I said, I got introduced to you. You are really good at what you do, because you really helped make that night. Bree and Terry, all of you guys were really spectacular that night. I cannot say enough good things about our Get Haunted event. If you've not checked them out, like I said, get over to gethaunted.com, check out one of their events. Meet Kyle. He's a super nice guy. He's a gentle giant.
Thank you. No, it was great. I loved meeting you guys too, and it'll be fun. I'll see what the future brings us here, right? Hopefully, you guys get out to White Hill one day.
Absolutely, yeah, like I said, it's definitely on my bucket list. So we'll have to see what next year brings, because I know this year is pretty full for us and you guys, and
Oh,
for us to travel from Canada to go all the way up to New Jersey. I mean, that's a place I've never been before, so I definitely look forward to getting up that way as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting place to visit. Maybe you'll see the Jersey Devil. You never know.
Oh yes, and I never say
yes.
never. I never say never. I definitely want to get up to the White Hill Mansion, and stranger things, Kyle. I mean, you and I could be going to the Ancient Rams Inn with Dale at some point.
You never know. We'll go international.
That would be amazing.
Go international.
That sounds like a good Get Haunted event right there. I'll sign up for that one.
There we go. I got to get on Sarah and Rob on that one.
I can't believe so. An hour went by like that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody that tuned in. Thank you so much tonight. Everybody that made a comment, that said hello, where they're from, where they're at. Thank you so much. It means so much to everybody, the creeps, the freaks, and the weirdos that make up the TPV Nation. We cannot do it. Myself and Dale, Windsor, Ontario's own, the Paranormal Voice, cannot do it without you, the fans, from day one to day now. And we certainly cannot do it without great guests like the vice president of White Hill Mansion, paranormal investigator, and the Get Haunted crew member, Kyle Mangus. Oh my God, you stole the show tonight, my friend. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you.
Hey, it's not a problem. Thank you guys for having me. I'll be back anytime you need me.
Sounds good. And everybody, we will see you all on the other side. But in the meantime, and in between time, happy hauntings.
Happy haunting, folks.